Hello everyone, I'm Mattia, founder and CEO at UNI Student Advisors, and I'm very excited to welcome you to today's interview with GMAT, the makers of the GMAT exam. And I do want you to know that I know how you feel. I had to take the GMAT myself to get into the best business schools in the world. And over the past 10 years at UNI Student Advisors, we've had over 500 students get admitted to universities around the world. I know how stressful it is to prepare a standardized test like the GMAT and how stressful it is to apply to business school and more in general to universities around the world. And that is why at UNI Student Advisors, we've created an end-to-end and personalized service to help you in the admissions process to universities, masters, MBAs, and PhDs anywhere in the world. And it's for the same reason that every month at UNI Student Advisors, we post instructional videos, articles, and guides for you that you want to study and work abroad. So, if you do not want to miss the next informational video, remember to subscribe to our channel and to turn on the notifications below. This way, you will not miss any of our next videos. But without further ado, let's get started. It is an absolute pleasure to welcome here today Ellie, Marketing Manager at GMAT, and Jamie, Psychometric Manager at GMAT. Ellie, Jamie, welcome. And we start with you. Why don't you tell us a bit more about your role at GMAT?
Yeah, perfect. Jamie's role is far more complicated. So, as Matthew said, my name's Ellie. I'm the marketing manager for GMAT in Europe. My role is to help students get into their dream business school. Through that is a GMAT exam.
That is fantastic. Thank you so much for the intro, Ellie. Jamie, over to you.
Hello, I am Jamie Malatesta. I am a senior psychometrician with the Graduate Management Admissions Council based out of Reston, Virginia, in the United States. Today I'm going to talk to you about some of the new features of the GMAT Focus Edition.
Thank you, Jamie. We are so excited to have you here today and be able to get your view on how the most recent changes in the GMAT exam are going to support students around the world that wish to take it every year. So let's get started, and I'm going to start with a question for Ellie, if that's okay. Ellie, why don't you start by telling our friends at home who are watching this interview, what is the GMAT and what is it used for?
Yeah, the most important question. So the GMAT is the most widely used assessment for business schools applications globally. So the main purpose of it was designed to give admissions officers valuable insights during the admissions process, just to be able to understand a candidate's suitability for their programme. So before they get admitted, they know that they'll do well on the course and academically they'll match. For you, the most important thing about the GMAT exam is it will help you stand out. The higher the GMAT score in your application, the stronger this area of your application will be.
That sounds fantastic. Thanks so much, Ellie. Couldn't agree more. The GMAT is so important if you want to aim for admissions in top business schools worldwide, whether you want to do an MBA like I did a couple of years ago, or you want to get into an early career program like a Master of Science. So very, very important to get admission into top schools. Extremely important also to aim for high scholarships. So really, really happy to be here. And since we're talking about business school, how does the GMAT help you prepare for business school, Ellie?
The GMAT is, such a big factor in terms of preparing to get into your program. I think some people think that they'll take the GMAT exam, they'll learn those skills, and then they'll never use them again. The GMAT exam assesses a range of critical thinking skills, data literacy, problem solving. They'll, as I said before, be a likely predictor for academic success in your course. That also means you'll be using them, applying them within your chosen course. So skills you're using in the GMAT exam, you'll use as part of your degree programme, as well as later in the world of work. So during your MBA and throughout your career, the lessons and skills you learn from the GMAT, you'll be applying sort of further in your life.
What are the key differences between the previous version of the GMAT and the new version of the GMAT, or better said, the evolved version of the GMAT that came out in November of last year?
First, we reduced the test length and the testing time. We reduced the content coverage of the exam. The total score is now made up of 3 sections: verbal, quantitative, and data insights. We introduced a new review and edit feature, and we also have improved score reports that provide advanced analytics on your performance. So a little bit more about this. We have reduced testing length. So the classic GMAT was 3 hours and 7 minutes, whereas the GMAT Focus Edition is now just 2 hours and 15 minutes. We reduced the content drastically, so we got rid of the analytical writing assessment. In verbal, we removed sentence correction. In the quantitative reasoning, we removed geometry and data sufficiency. And in the data insights section, this is a new section that measures data literacy skills, which includes integrated reasoning item types and various types of data sufficiency items that are contextualized in real scenarios. And like I said before, the total score is now made up of 3 sections. So in the classic GMAT, the total score is based on quantitative reasoning and verbal reasoning, whereas in the GMAT Focus Edition, it's now based on quantitative reasoning, verbal reasoning, and data insights. We also introduced a new review and edit feature, which gives candidates the chance to go back and review any of the questions on the exam, and they can change up to 3 of the questions per section if they have time remaining at the end of the exam. We also improved our score reports to provide more detailed information and diagnostic details on student performance.
Wow, that's fantastic, Jamie. A lot of amazing news for candidates like myself who have to take the GMAT. Ellie, what were the motivations that made GMAT update the GMAT exam this past November?
So the goal was always to meet today and future test takers' experience with the world at large in the market. We understand that the business world has changed, what business schools are looking for has changed, how the candidates changed. So Jamie's touched on it already. We've made the exam more focused, so it's now 3 45-minute sections that all count towards your GMAT score. So it's nearly an hour shorter. So in terms of exam fatigue, it's a lot less. So if you have to resit it, and the exam experience itself is a lot better for candidates. We also recognise what business schools are looking for, and the relevant skills and actionable insights, which is why we brought in data insights. So you're looking at different data literacy skills and how it translates into real business scenarios. And another key goal was making sure every test taker's experience was personal. So every test is personal for each test taker's ability. So now you've got the review and edit, which has helped a lot with people's exam experience and exam anxiety. With the new performance report, you can get more insights into how you perform. So if you do need to reset it, you've got that to use, or if you just want to know anyway how you perform in different sections. And then the ease of score sending, and we'll touch upon it a bit later. Score sending is so much easier now, so your experience is a lot better for the candidate, and it's taking away as much as possible any exam anxiety and fatigue.
Next, let's go back to Jamie. Jamie, just to clarify, you've mentioned both the ability to take the exam in test centers as well as online. Could you explain us if there are any differences between the 2 options?
The short answer is no. There's absolutely no differences. The format of the exam is the same in both channels. The content that we test is the same. The item structure and layout is the same. The adaptive algorithm, everything is the same across the 2 channels. The only difference is the physical setting in which you take the exam. So it's really your own personal preference, whether you feel more comfortable at your own home or in a testing center with perhaps less distractions.
Ellie, how often can I take the GMAT exam? And maybe do I need to wait some time between exam dates?
So you can take 5 attempts of the GMAT exam within a 12-month period, and then you've got 8 attempts in your lifetime. And then within that, you've got 16 days in between each attempt. So this applies to both online and test centre. So if you've done 4 online exams or 4 in test centre exams, they all count towards your 8 total. It's really worth thinking about when you're sitting your exam, the application deadline. So it's sort of working backwards on yourself. So you're saying, okay, well, if my application's due in September, maybe I'll look at doing the GMAT in July. So it's allowing yourself enough time between that. So if you need to retake it, you can, and just have a bit of bit of comfort there, because the application process can be quite stressful, so you don't add some more to it. Obviously you've got the GMAT exam, you've got your applications, potentially interviews, so it's making sure you're spacing out your application to give yourself the best possible outcome.
Okay, thank you for that, Ellie. Then let me ask you maybe another question, since we are along the lines of the same topic. How far in advance should I be booking my GMAT exam?
So you can book up to 6 months in advance, both online and test centre. Test centre availabilities tends to be sort of working out days, so on Monday to Friday, and online is 24/7. It's worth taking into account, like I said, the deadlines and also exam centre availability. You can check on mba.com for certain months to see what appointments are available. Typically we say about a month in advance. Some people online could book it for the next day, but generally speaking I wouldn't advise on that. You want to make sure you've got the day you want, the time you want, and then as well as not book it too close to the exam, make sure you leave yourself enough time and make sure you're ready. I think some people book it, say 2 months out, and they'll get to that point and think, no, I need more time. So it's booking it when you know you're ready to sit it, you know you've got all the content done, you've got your exam strategy in place, and then go to book your exam.
That makes a lot of sense. Thanks a lot, Ellie. Thanks a lot. That does make a lot of sense. Jamie, one question for you, because you really spiked my interest before when you talked a little bit more about the score reports. So tell me, Jamie, how has the scoring system in the GMAT changed, and how should candidates now read those score reports and interpret those score reports?
So each section score contributes equally to the GMAT or overall total score. So being a computerized adaptive test, or a CAT, GMAT scores are computed using the maximum likelihood estimation method. This response pattern scoring algorithm considers not only the correctness of responses, but also the statistical characteristics of questions, such as the difficulty and discrimination power for each question. It's important to note that incorrectly answered questions contribute as significantly to the GMAT score as correctly answered questions. So consequently, it is normal to see a wide distribution of GMAT scores, even with the same number of correct answered questions. Also, it's no secret that the test includes some questions that are not used for scoring at all, but instead they're used for field testing, and they're mixed in throughout each section of the exam. Last thing I want to point out is that for candidates who don't complete each section, there is an extra penalty applied to their section score. So it's in your best interest to try to answer all of the questions in each section.
Duly noted. Thanks so much for this information, because are those details that really are going to maximize the student preparation and ability to really do the best in their test, right? Let me go back to Ellie to ask her a question. Ellie, regarding the scores themselves, 2 questions for you. The first one is, how long are they valid for? And the second one is, how do I get them over to the business schools that I wish to apply to?
So the first answer, the scores are valid for 5 years. So you've got a long time to be able to use it. So we always have top tip for people, especially say if they're maybe undergrad at the minute, or maybe they're looking to their MBA next year. If you can get your GMAT in the bag now, get it as soon as possible. Once you've got it done, then you can go apply. You've got that sort of thing ticked off.
GMAT offers a whole suite of products, services, free resources that candidates can use to prepare for the GMAT. So why don't you tell us a bit more about those?
Okay, so what resources do we offer for candidates preparing for the GMAT exam? So we have the official starter kit, we have the suite of practice exams, we have an official guidebook and an ebook, along with a supplemental books for each section. These can all be found on the mba.com. So going in a little deeper, we have the free official starter kit includes a guided 6-week study plan that tracks your progress. It also includes full-length practice exams, so you get 2 full-length exams. You also get 70 questions from all sections, from which you can build custom practice sets based on the question types and difficulty levels that you need to study. They also contain detailed study answer explanations, and this is all supported on multiple devices such as Apple, Google, and web-based browsers. We also offer a suite of practice exams. We have 2 free exams and we have 4 paid exams. So in total we have 6 exams, and each uses the real scoring algorithm that the actual GMAT exam uses. And they each come with detailed performance reports for each section, as well as time management diagnostic information. Lastly, we have the official guide. It comes in paper form and as an ebook. And the guide also includes online question banks for each section. So these are all great resources to prepare for the GMAT.
That's fantastic. Yes, please go, please check them out because they are going to be very important for your preparation. Jamie, Ellie, thank you so much for being with us today. It was a great session, and I think that our students at home have learned some very, very, very useful pieces of information that are going to help them maximize their admission journey to business school and, more importantly, their GMAT preparation. So thank you for that. Thank you for being with us today. I'll leave it over to you to see if you have any closing statements. If not, thank you again for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciate being involved in this. It's great to have a partnership and work closely. You do so much great work with students, so it's great to be part of it. And I guess a closing thing, my top tips just to finish. Practice is key with the GMAT exam, as Jamie said. We have so many practice exams available. That'll be the only way you can improve. Keep an error log of everything you're doing. So as you're working through, when you're making mistakes and when you're doing well, keep note of it. That'll be the best thing to learn from. And then finally, it is a daunting thing. It can be quite stressful. People put a lot of pressure on themselves. You're comparing to maybe your peers who've done the GMAT exam. Your GMAT experience is so much different than everyone else's. Take your time. Don't add that pressure. You'll get the score you want. You'll get into your program, but at your pace.
It was a really pleasure to have you both here. Thanks again, and thank you to our friends at home that have seen the video as well. Bye, guys.